Now we are going to replace the main board in your CX-3 with a working one. You want to put it in just like you took it out, except of course in reverse. And the biggest trick is getting these connectors out of the way. There we go. It's all aligned now, and let's get the jacks to poke through the back, and voila. So let's start off with putting the 4 screws in the back. To secure the motherboard or the main board. This is where a manual screwdriver for me personally is superior, because I can feel how the screws go in, and I can be careful not to cross thread or strip them. Yeah, it feels really good. All right, let's put in the analog signals. Power supply, keyboard, display, and the front panel. And next we're going to install the nuts for the jacks. Take my 15mm socket, tighten them up. And tighten the screws on the MIDI jacks. These particular ones you have to be a little careful with. They just go into soft plastic, so just finger tight or you'll strip them. Next we're going to replace the drawbar assembly. So feed the cables in, and you may notice that many units, they color code the 2 drawbar cables because they're identical, and if you get them in backwards, then your drawbars will operate backwards. Not the end of the world, you know. When you figure out that that's happened, you just come back and swap them, but it's a bit of a pain. It's better to avoid it up front if you can. Now we go and get our 9 screws. I believe it's 9. and you now install and secure the drawbar assembly. And I tend to go in sort of a opposing pattern of installing these screws, a little bit like you would tightening a tire. I'm just getting these started to make sure that it's all aligned properly. I'm not tightening any of them yet. And on this one, don't forget to make sure the eyelet for this part of the power supply is in there. And now that I am pretty sure it's all aligned, we're just going to start tightening these in. So we're just going to go circularly around this way. Tighten that one. Tighten this one. Put the one here in the middle. Tighten in. And the only thing left to do now is to put the escutcheon back. And put the 4 remaining screws in. Again, don't put them all in and tighten them all at once. I like to start them, make sure they're not cross-threaded, and make sure everything is aligned well. There, I'm happy with that. So let's start tightening here more in the middle. Yes. And work our way out. And that's it. Now all we have left to do is to put the top back on. So I would suggest starting with this back edge, because it has the brackets on it. Get that in position and tap along the front if necessary to get everything to seat properly. The next thing I would suggest doing is to just make sure that there aren't any pieces of debris by the top screw holes. Now we're going to begin by replacing these screws into the top. We're going to proceed like we do normally by just putting the screws in, but don't tighten them down yet. Just make sure they will all start. And everything seems fine. So we'll tighten them down. You just want to get them a good firm finger tight here. Don't want to make any new dents into the wood or anything. And then finally, the back screws. Now, these are a little bit tricky because you can strip them if you're not careful. So what I do is I put them in and back them off until they click like that, and then try it. Like that one is going right in. Let's try this one. Nope. Try it again. There it goes. Very good. And we're all finished.